Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Now in this video we're going to be talking about box shadow and not necessarily any front-end project or any UI element. So if you have been following me up for some time, you would really know that I really use this property quite a lot in most of my projects because I really enjoy using box shadow because it kind of gives you the 3D look to your UI elements. So in this video we're going to be talking about the box shadow and how you can use box shadow in your own CSS. So without any ado, let's get started. Alright, now the first thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be having the broader template of HTML by entering our exclamation and then hitting enter. So we're going to have the broader HTML template, and then we're going to be adding the title as box shadow, and then we'll link our style.css file, which we haven't really created as of now. So I'm going to go quickly and then create the style.css file over here, and then we're going to be adding a container div inside the body so that we can hold the 3 divs that we're going to create for the box shadow tutorial. So I'm going to be giving these a class of box, and then I'm gonna add asterisk and followed by a number, which would basically allow me to have 3 divs with a class of box as I have Emmet installed, and I'm gonna be adding classes to these as box1, box2, and box3. Now in the style.css file I'm gonna be adding default margin to 0 and then padding to 0 and then box sizing to border box. And in the body, get a height and a width of 100 viewport height and 100 viewport width, which basically takes the entire width of the screen. And then I'm giving the container div a height and a width of the entire body, so I'm going to be adding height and width to 100% each, so that we have the container covering the entire width of the screen. And then I'm going to be adding display flags so that everything is displayed at the dead center of the screen and in a single row, so which we're going to do in just a second. And so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a common class to all these boxes, that's going to be box, so that we can give few common styles to each of these boxes. So here, this box class, we're going to give it a style. So first thing that we're going to do is giving it a height of around 400, let's give it 300 pixels of height, and then a width of around 250 pixels, and then let's add margin of 40 pixels so that each box has a bit of gapping between other box. So here in the container div I'm going to be adding justify corner center and align items center so that everything comes at the dead center, and we'll give a border of 1 pixel solid black so that we can clearly see each box. So the next thing that we're going to do is create the box shadow. Now first we need to understand a little bit about box shadow. Now the box shadow takes in 4 values, the first being the horizontal offset, second being the vertical offset, and then the third we have blur radius, then optional, which is you don't really need to put in, but if you want to give the value you can, which is the spread radius, and then we have the color. So the horizontal offset is basically the shadow that's going to be on the right side if you give a positive value, and it's going to give a shadow on the left side if you have a negative value. The first thing that I'm going to do is add here a complete box shadow that's going to be 10 pixels, and then we'll add a blur radius of 20 pixel and then a spread of 30 pixel of a black color. Now if I save, you can see that this looks pretty ugly, and this is because of the spread that we have for 30 pixel. Now here you can see that it's on the right side. Alright, so basically the shadow is on the right side because we have positive values. Now if I increase the spread to 80 pixels, now you can see that this looks more ugly. Now let's keep that to 0. So this is the normal box shadow that you're gonna get if you have a spread of 0. The next thing that I'm gonna be doing is adding a negative value on the horizontal offset, so you can see what happens. So it comes on the left side, Now if I remove that, you have it on the right side. Alright, now the same goes for the vertical offset. Now if I have it negative, it's going to be on the top, and then if I have that as positive value, so it's going to be on the bottom. Alright, so this is what happens when you have the values as negative and positive. Now the blur, you cannot have that negative. If you have negative value, what's going to happen is you won't see any changes. Alright, so that takes only positive values. So this is the box shadow. Now let's style our box too. So we're gonna just copy this and then we'll just paste it in the box 2. Alright, so this is our box 1. Let's style now box 2. Let's give box shadow, and then let's just paste that in. And then we're gonna add another row of the same box shadow. We'll just show you what happens when you have multiple box shadow layers. So I'll just paste the same. Let's see. Why isn't it working good? So the name, so yeah, so it should be box 2, not really box hyphen 2, which is this. So this should be this. Now you can see that since we have 2 rows, you can see that one side puts the box shadow on the right, and then the other layer puts the shadow on the left side because of this negative horizontal offset. Alright, so this comes because of the second layer. Alright, now you can have few more layers, so I'll just add in few other layers. Let's add one more. So this time we're gonna have minus 10 pixel, and then also the vertical offset also to be negative value. Now this is gonna have a box shadow on the top right corner, top left corner basically. So you can see that the top left corner is more darker compared to the top left corner. So to remove that, what we can do is we can add another layer. Alright, just beneath the first layer. So we're gonna give this a value of positive horizontal offset and then a negative vertical offset, which is gonna give us a right. Now once we save, you can see, so there's another value that you can pass in box shadow, that is inset. Now what inset does is basically it removes the box shadows that were spreading outside to inside. Now this, all the shadows are like moving outside. Now if I add here inset, now you're gonna see that the box shadows are now inside, and you would also notice that the shadows, the position of the shadows have kind of changed. Now if I have the horizontal offset as negative, now it's going to be on the right side, whereas if I remove that, it's going to be on the left. Alright, so same goes for the vertical offset. It's going to be now on the bottom for negative, and then for the positive it's going to be top left corner. Now in this case also you can add in multiple values of box shadow to have different layers of box shadows in your element. Now I'll just copy this and then we'll just paste it in a few more times, and then we'll let the inset be as it is. Now we'll just change the values. So this is the box shadow inset when you have 2 layers of that. Now you can have few other layers, but now is I'm gonna be showing you a way to style box 1 properly. So first let's add a bit of different background. So let's add a background of #4 F4 F4 F4, which basically gives you a bit of dark white kind of background. And then in this box 1, what I'm going to be doing is adding a box shadow. So first let's remove the spread. Alright, so I'm going to remove it entirely, and then let's add 3 pixel horizontal offset, 6 pixel of vertical offset, and then a 10 pixel of blur. Alright, and then let's add an RGBA value of 0, 0, 0, and then alpha as 0.3. Alright, and then let's add another layer of box shadow. Two pixels, 6 pixels, and then 10 pixels, and then let's add in an RGBA value that is 255, 255, 255. Now this isn't really an RGBA value because we haven't really given any alpha, but it's gonna work as RGB, which takes alpha as 1 by default if you don't really give any. Now let's add a negative offset, horizontal offset, and so you can see that this has a bit of this whitish 3D look on the top corner of the box, which really makes it kind of pop out of the screen. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just adjust the values. Alright, let's make it 1 pixel. You can see this kind of this 3D effect. Alright, the shadows around the boxes. So let's add border radius of around 10 pixels. So we have kind of round edges, and then let's make the color a bit dark. Now this looks better. You can see the light that comes out from the box, so this is better. So this is how you would design a box if you want to have a bit of like box shadow effect. Alright, so there are different ways you can do, but this is a standard box shadow design. And let's add box 1 text, and let's align it at the dead center of the box. So I'm gonna just add here display flex, and then we'll just add justify center, and then align item center. So yeah, this was the tutorial, guys. I hope it was helpful. Hopefully you guys learned something new, a little more about box shadow. So if you're new to the channel, if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Meet you in the next video.